You got to plug that in. So much for nailing the post.
Close enough.
The Wade and Carter Show is a paid programming, and KHMC Magic Miracle assumes no responsibility
Is
for
it?
its content, and the Wade and Carter Show bears no responsibilities for their opinions and guests on their show.
Oregon Mask Ordinance, NHL Hall of Fame inductees announced, and things get a little hairy in Wisconsin. All that and more coming up in today's Wade and Carter Show.
It was so close.
Because you stand there panicking me.
We'll never get that moment back.
Rule number 1.
Folks.
Hey, how are you?
You know, I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
Every day we get one opportunity. We, the inclusive we, where I even
Inclusive we.
I load up on your sloping shoulders, and we get one opportunity to, at dead up 7 o'clock, play the Magic 95.9. Play that, start the intro. You've called it nailing the post. You've told me it is a somewhat of a, not just a moment of pride,
Yeah,
but a
it's a moment of
statement.
pride.
It's a statement of capability and competence.
Yep. And I have
We
none.
never nailed the post.
That's almost become our trademark.
It's almost like, right,
Yeah.
coming in on the off note.
Exactly.
We're like Ronnie Millsap. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
Why did
Everybody
he
else
sing
is
there?
clapping on time, and we're
Yeah.
a half beat off.
We're the
We're
two
that guy.
losers. We're Cheech and Chong more than anything else. Craziness. 77 degrees in Victoria, Texas. Mostly cloudy. Heading to a high today of only 89. Sun's going to peak out. Kenneth Sexton reporting there were some serious storms out in the Inez area.
There was some good thunder and lightning last night.
So,
About 11:30 around my place. Got the dogs going crazy. So
you gave the little Kerr mix to somebody. What was her name? Dorothy?
Daisy.
Daisy.
Yeah. Yeah,
Nice-
your
nice
friend.
dog.
BA
B.A. Strick.
got him.
Super
Got
nice.
her. Yep. And the lab that I had that went to John Mundy. So yeah.
He was BA was like, hey man, the dog's crate trained, house trained, wonderful. So if the dog spends 3 weeks with Ash, I mean it's gonna be trained.
No, she was a good.
You got
dog.
too many dogs to go tiptoe through the tulips. I mean they've got to get on a program.
Oh no, you have to tip through the tulips with that many dogs. Otherwise, you step in some
Right?
landmines.
Do you go out there and just load it up, throw it over the fence?
That's all I do.
Do you have those little grabbers?
No, I just have a small shovel.
Okay, I'll just do the flick.
Fling.
It's
just
like a hockey flick.
like lacrosse.
Okay, I thought
Depending
you
on
might
which-
come underneath. Like a
No, because I got to
hockey.
get it over the fence.
Okay,
I don't need to get it over. In hockey terms, I have to put it over the glass.
the puck.
But that would be, yeah. So
Man, I was
some of them are kind of like pucks.
so last night when I told you that I was watching. I sent you a picture, in fact, of me watching 100.
I know you dropped some Montreal Canadiens facts on me, and I was like, "Where the hell are
Yeah.
you getting this?" Because I know you didn't
Hockey
just
guy.
do this.
Hockey guy now. I'm a hockey guy. They summed up. What's funny is it was 100 years of NHL greatness was the show, and the entire documentary was like 8 minutes long. I'm saying that's all it was. It was like 8 minutes. They said there were the Flyers, then there were the Canadiens.
Wasn't the Flyers?
Who were Gordie Howe. It was like Gordie Howe,
Detroit
Gordie
Red
Howe,
Wings?
Gordie Howe. Then it was the Canadiens. Then Gretzky, and now we're in no man's land. It's like
Kinda.
the NBA after Michael Jordan.
Kinda.
And this guy just said, what I love about hockey is it's a superlative laced conversation. When people talk about hockey, when people say that Wayne Gretzky's the greatest player ever, like everybody goes, so? Because I mean, no, that's not true. I mean, LeBron's better than Michael. That doesn't happen. Because in hockey, Wayne Gretzky's the greatest player ever. And people say, on this documentary, the guy goes, by the time he quit, I'd forgotten that he not only played for Edmonton and the Kings, he went somewhere else.
St. Louis and the New York Rangers.
So by the time he retired, he had amassed such statistics that he basically leads the NHL in every offensive category by such a margin that his records will never be broken. And the guy literally said, no matter who comes along next, nobody. And apparently the game has evolved in such a way that it's not conducive for a guy to score 80 goals, you know?
Probably not. And goaltending equipment has changed. But here's the other thing. They changed, much like the Montreal Canadiens when they dominated, because back in the 50s, if you got a penalty and you were in the penalty box, it didn't matter how many goals the team scored. If you got a 2-minute penalty, you were in the penalty box for that entire 2 minutes.
Right.
Montreal was so good on the power play back then, they changed the rule.
The power play being that when the other team has a player in the box, you have an offensive advantage.
You have one more player.
I learned that.
So then after you score a goal, that player comes out of the box. That wasn't always the case. They changed rules in the NHL because of Gretzky.
Because he was killing teams during the power play.
Yeah.
He might score 3 or 4 goals while you're shorthanded.
Yeah, they got rid of things like the coincidental minors never used to. I mean, if you got 2 penalties.
Minor. That sounds like Jeffrey Epstein.
Kind of, yeah.
Sounds like Jeffrey Epstein.
Epstein and Bill Clinton, yeah.
It was just a coincidental minor. It wasn't child prostitution.
Well, at the time, if a player on each team got a 2-minute penalty, which would be coincidental minor penalties.
Okay.
You played 4-on-4 hockey.
That's people like that, or they don't like
No, Gretzky killed him in that situation. So what they said was, well, instead of going to 4-on-4, we'll just continue to play 5-on-5. Those 2 people will serve a penalty, but there's no change up on the ice. Little things like that they changed the rules just to try to stop Gretzky and the Oilers.
Tiger-proof
kind of,
hockey.
yes.
Like, we got to make the holes longer because Tiger's killing everybody.
And it didn't really stop him.
And it didn't.
Not really.
He was so phenomenal, folks. And when you watch,
and you'll get some that say Bobby Orr is probably a close second, and the's a lot. And I remember a little Bobby Orr.
White privilege, just an old white guy. It's like having Joe Biden back when he was a player. Yeah. You know, Joe Biden's out there trying to sniff, Bobby Orr's neck.
Bobby Orr played defense, and that was probably the one difference is that
Gretzky was all offense.
Gretzky was a center.
He couldn't be bothered with that. He couldn't be bothered.
Well, he played center, but Gretzky was better. He was a better all-around player than people give him credit for. And with a full disclaimer, I hated Gretzky as a player.
Sure,
because he played for Edmonton, and Edmonton always beat Calgary, and Calgary was probably the second best hockey team in the NHL through the 80s. But we always had to try to get through Edmonton.
It's like the Cowboys hate the Steelers.
Yeah, we always had to try to get through Edmonton to get the Stanley Cup, and we did it twice. 86, we lost to Montreal in the finals, and then 89, we won it all.
There you go.
But it was interesting because yesterday the Hockey Hall of Fame announced their latest inductees, and Jarome Iginla will become the first Black player who's a non-goalie inducted into the NHL. Played almost his entire career for Calgary. Good player, kind of an all-around player. Good defensively, scored a lot of goals. Better assist guy than many gave him credit for, and he was the captain of the Flames. He was the face of the franchise. And he wasn't afraid to drop the gloves and throw knuckles with anybody.
So was an assist in hockey, is it literally like you're over there by the goal? Is it just like an assist in basketball? I flick you the puck, you score.
Yes.
So it's a direct pass that sets up, and that's a judgment call.
2 direct passes.
Go ahead, please.
I scored the goal, you passed it to me, and somebody else passed it to you. Those are the 2 assists on a goal.
You can have so I'm skating on the right side, you're back behind by the other goal. You flick it to me. I flick it over there, and the guy taps it in. We each get an assist.
Yes.
See, that's why, folks. A lot of hockey games are 2-1, and yet there could be 6 assists in the game. Everybody's a winner. But here's the deal: you pointed out that they keep points for players. Wayne Gretzky, you get a point for scoring a goal. You get a point for an assist. Wayne Gretzky had over 200 points in a season.
4 times.
4 times.
In 80-game seasons.
And he's the only player to ever do it once. It's that kind of superlative where you just go, nobody else has ever done it once. It's like Jose Canseco going 40-40 4 times in a row, and nobody else has ever done it. And you just go, hey, it's pretty good. Yeah.
And the one year he had more assists than the next leading scorer had points total.
One thing I liked about Gretzky, and there's nothing wrong with a player, and I've always, maybe it's not the case. You may tell me different because you hated him when he was with Edmonton. Wayne Gretzky, to me, comes off as a fairly humble guy. He doesn't come off as like this, where like Michael Jordan was a trash talker. But Gretzky said, here was the deal. One thing I did is I used the area behind the net. He said I would hide out behind the net. And if they came to get me, I came around this way. If they didn't, I'd come around and kill them over here. And he said, when you can do that, he goes, then you become Wayne Gretzky. I thought that was really cool that he said that.
Yeah.
Well, when you can do that effectively, then, that's how you become Wayne Gretzky. Very cool.
Yeah. No, he was, and you couldn't touch him. That was the other thing with Wayne Gretzky. He may not have been the fastest skater in the NHL, but he was very shifty on the ice until he ended up with back problems the last half of his career.
Where he only scored 100 goals.
Yeah, exactly. But he was a guy that you thought you would have lined up and you'd go to hit him, and the next thing you know, you're hitting nothing but air or you're crashing into the boards because
Like Herschel Walker.
you didn't get a piece of him.
Yeah.
Like Barry Sanders almost.
Well, when they talked, who was it you told me that kind of mastered being the rough guys? Was that the Flyers?
Yeah, the Flyers in the 70s.
They showed some people going into the boards, and like one of them, they talked about a player, I don't remember who it was, just another big goonish white dude with a lot of hair.
Dave the Hammer Schultz, probably.
And they see the guy skating along, he's cruising, and this guy hits him. You see the whole wall.
Yeah.
And this hockey player is like, man, like it left a dent in the board. Like they were all like, wow, dude. There was a guy named Brad Parent.
Bernie Perrant.
Yeah, great
goalie for the Flyers.
Great
Hall of Famer.
goalie.
Great goalie.
They said that in that's where he really excelled. He was French. He was from
Quebec.
Awesome.
Yeah, what was the old sign you'd see in the old Philadelphia Spectrum? Only Jesus saves more than Bernie.
Nice. That's nice.
Pretty good. So the NHL, good jumping off point for our Hockey Hall of Fame. Jarome Iginla gets in, deservedly so. Marian Hossa gets in. That one, he had a lot of points in his career, over 1,100. I think he's one of those guys that
racist. You just don't like the Dominican guy, Hossa.
he's
Probably not Dominican.
Czech,
Can you see that? Can you see a little Dominican
No,
hockey
ain't
player
happening.
all over the ice?
Yeah, but good player. I don't know that he's Hall of Fame, in my opinion. He had a lot of points, but I don't know that he was
Playing for Nashville. Altuve scores a goal. It'd be crazy, wouldn't it?
Doug Wilson gets elected as a player.
Was he also a manager?
He is the general manager of San Jose. I think he's the second longest tenured general manager, but he gets in as a player, not as a builder. Doug Wilson, I can agree with. This was a guy that played both ways as a defense. He was hard to play against physically, and he also scored a lot of points and could score goals. That one, he was one of those guys that you hated to play against, and I can agree with that one. Kevin Lowe gets in. He is now, I think, he was the last remaining player to have 6 or more Stanley Cups and not be in the Hall of Fame.
So that's why he's in.
No, he's a defenseman.
Good player.
His points don't show it, but he was probably one of the key reasons that the Edmonton Oilers were able to do what they did so well offensively, because Kevin Lowe was keeping things secure in the back end.
When you make me think about that, you take me to a guy like not Butch Johnson, Moose Johnston. You take me to a guy like Daryl Johnston, because his yards don't show it, but that guy was a Hall of Famer. His yards don't show it because he didn't get the ball that much, but he's the guy that opened the hole for Emmett.
Yeah.
He's the guy that protected Troy. He's the guy that maybe did a key fake at a goal line that allowed Michael Irvin to catch a wide open pass.
Yeah.
That's what would make him a Hall of Famer to me, even though, quote unquote, his yards don't show it.
So Kevin Lowe gets in, and probably deservedly so, a key piece of getting over to New York and helping the Rangers win their first cup in a billion years in 1994 as well.
So
Ken Holland gets in the builders category,
Okay,
longtime
Holland.
general manager of Detroit when Detroit had all their success in the 90s and early 2000s.
was
And
there a guy
then
named Ron McNeil, the Hockey Night in Canada guy?
yeah, Ron McLean.
Ron McClain. They had interviews with him, and he had that voice.
And Kim St. Pierre gets in as a
Because you got to have a French.
class of 2020. No, she was a star female goalie. It's not the Pro Hockey Hall of Fame; it's the Hockey Hall of Fame. So
It's bigger than that.
it's in Toronto. I need to go.
It's not
It's on my bucket list.
It's not the
So-
Presbyterian Hall of Fame. It's the Christian Hall of Fame. It's
Yeah.
bigger than that.
Yes, Kevin Lowe, probably the first. I think the first pure defensive defenseman to go in since Rod Langway back in
See,
early 2000s. So
folks, I apologize. I just brought that up. That's not really wasn't really on our agenda. And I imagine Steve Kidder is like on his third bourbon about right now.
well, you
It's like,
think about it. Everybody
not
who
just
hates our
sports.
baseball talk, they had to endure the hockey
we're
talk
not
this
just talking
morning.
sports. We're
No.
talking hockey.
But I will say this: Theron Fleury, who a point a game in his career, won the Stanley Cup in '89 with the Calgary Flames. A point a game in
He's
his
not in.
playoff career, still not in, and he
Not
had
in.
over 1,000 points in 1,000 games.
Should we start a Wade and Carter, like a demand? Like,
It's coming.
okay, we're going to have to
I'm teaming up with Pete Montana. We'll get this thing done.
beat Montana.
So
Say hello, my little friend.
look at that. And our viewership didn't drop off too
If
much.
you
through all
need
that.
something to drag this show,
I think we educated people this morning.
we're going to drag our show out of the ditch with Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. Allen will come and get you wherever you end up. If you're in a ditch, if you're on the side of the road, if your car won't go. When these things happen, folks, all you do is dial 578-6300. And then if your vehicle, let's say you have a fender bender, if your car will move, then move it out of the roadway. Stay in it and move it out of the roadway. If you're going to get out and get far
away
from
from
the
the roadway.
vehicle.
Yeah.
The other thing is call Allen, and Allen's will come out and secure the location. They'll put out the cones, the flares if it's nighttime. They are effectively first responders. If you have a big rig and it falls over, they will bring up to a 75-ton crane. They will right your vehicle. They will securely and safely get you where you need to be. Go ahead. It made you laugh.
Bobby Leister, 66 YouTube subscribers. He says the spike is over.
Yes. Well, the spike's just beginning in Victoria. We'll talk about that in a minute. VCS Companies, the Rocket Oilfield Services, and the only locally owned and authorized AT&T retailer, all on Kerr Boulevard.
Might have been
Just
tough
beside
to
the
get
Bank.
there yesterday, given the line of traffic around Twin Fountains there for
People
COVID testing.
So don't be surprised. Don't be surprised that today's Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday. So Friday, if you see a big spike, it could be because there were 200 cars went through Twin Fountains yesterday to get tested. Just saying, these are people that were concerned enough to go get tested. Don't be surprised if we find a large spike of COVID cases.
And then open public testing today and tomorrow at the community center. So we'll get more
If
into
you
that
don't have
next
it,
week.
you can go down there and probably catch it because people there are going, excuse me.
Exactly.
I'll be back. I'm going to get my throat swabbed. SCT Building Systems, Clayton and Casey Hill will make your dreams come true.
They will.
Quite simply, if you want to design a barn dominium, if you want to do kind of a she shed with some storage on the other side for daddy, they can do it. Push, pull, metal buildings, bricks and sticks, concrete forms, whatever you need, and they'll throw in the landscaping. Give them a call. SCT Building, 564-8864. And then, of course, our friend and great supporter, Bobby Leon.
Chesnick Furniture Company, 116 West One Lynn, corner Santa Rosa and Bridge.
Right.
Old joke.
70 years at that location, but they've got bedding, Tempur-Pedic bedding. The furniture continues to evolve constantly as they celebrate 100 years. Get down there and enjoy huge savings, half off on furniture during this sale.
We jumped right into the show, so we'll catch up. Good morning, Patrick Strauss. H.R. Mallory's in. It is debate day. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. Stephen Kidder's in. Jimbo Slice, Sheriff Louderback. Good morning.
That debate tonight? That's your debate. Hello, Sheriff.
Ryan Hopping, Christina Wise, my beautiful wife Cheryl is
Hi,
in.
Cheryl.
Adam Daughtry, Clayton Meyer.
Where's my beautiful wife, T-Lap? Ah, there she is.
Paul Ebner, Amy Mundy, Jennifer Yancey. There's Don Nicole, Joe Mitchell, Michael
Wait,
Jolly.
Jennifer Yancey came back like back to back, like
Yeah.
boom, boom. Like yesterday
2
we
days in
didn't
a row.
run her off.
Yeah, no.
Sweet.
Will Jost, Callie Frommy, Johnny Houghton.
We're-
Johnny Houghton says the Oilers even scored on themselves to get the other team a chance to win.
Steve
True
Smith
story.
did that.
Scored on himself, and that's how the Flames advanced 1 year in the playoffs.
Wow.
Game 7.
Steve Kidder, can we talk about curling now? It's always a good time to talk about curling. I have volunteered to purchase the stones for UHV curling. I want, and we put Wade and Carter right on the side of the stone. I
Can't put
think
them on the side. You can put them on top. Though.
okay, because we will have our arena is going to be state of the art. Our lanes, they're what they're called. Their lanes,
Rinks,
our rinks are going to be state of the art with the overhead
cameras.
camera. And when that stone is going down the rink, you'll see the Wade and Carter logo on top. Wade and Carter, big supporter of UHV curling.
Stephen Kidder says you were faking your interest in hockey.
No, it was genuine interest. I am a huge fan, Steve Kidder, as evidenced by our friendship, my friend. I am a big fan of excellence. I'm a big fan of the superlative. I love achievement. I love to watch when somebody at some craft is called the best there's ever been.
Bob Ross.
I like to study. Yes, there are no mistakes, only happy accidents. I love to study. I mean, forget Rembrandt. Give me Bob Ross. Rembrandt couldn't paint with a TV camera on him. Kidding me? Leonardo da Vinci hid out and painted Mona Lisa in the dark.
It took those guys years to do that.
Yeah,
Bob Ross would do it in one episode.
And in one setting, like it just, let's just turn that into a tree. But I love the superlative. I like that. And by the way, that's most of you, our listeners, are those kind of people.
Can't remember how many times I sat there watching Bob Ross. There's no way. He's ruined this. Nope, never did.
Did you see yesterday? I want you folks to know this. Our friend Peter McNally, long-known liberal that we like. Peter McNally, with a straight face, and I read the tone, said that he really believed Joe Biden was going to win in November and referred to Joe as like an honest candidate who can beat Trump. Now, does anybody really think that Joe Biden is an honest guy? Does anybody think that what Joe Biden did in the Ukraine was honest?
In fact, he lied to George Stephanopoulos about not having any clue about the Michael Flynn thing.
The fact that Joe Biden talked about, well, I never talked to my son Hunter about his business dealings. Liar, liar, pants on fire.
Then you're a bad dad.
Yeah, what kind of dad would do that? Oh, I've never talked to my cokehead kid about his dealings in Ukraine
and his drug problems.
Yeah, come on, Peter. I don't care if you like Donald Trump, but don't settle for that clown. By the way, what if it's going to be, is it going to be Biden and Madonna? It would have been Ellen, but she looked a little insensitive. I think it's going to be Biden, Obama.
Well, they were looking at Jimmy Kimmel, but.
Right? The blackface thing got him. It'll be B.O. Biden, Obama.
Probably will be.
I think that's what's going to happen.
Nah, I don't know. I think Stacey Abrams.
No, I don't know. We'll see, but I tell you what, I just don't think there's even, you'll notice we called it here the other day. You'll never hear Joe Biden speak again live. Never. He's not campaigning, folks. He's got nothing to say.
Well, he'll speak at the Democratic National Convention.
The man honestly has some mental capacity issues. If we know it, the world knows it. I'm wheels up in 6 minutes. I'm just telling you, you better fire that guy. Oh, okay. Yeah, he's honest. He's the guy we need.
Billy Adams, good morning. Tom Price. Jeff Meyer, Trey Molina, C.W. Bean.
Folk, Trey Molina.
Sherry Lynch is in. Scott Snow, Bob Watley.
Oh, from the Too Soon department, the humor that came blowing out surrounding the Bubba Watson deal.
Bubba Wallace.
Yeah, Bubba Watson's a golfer. I forgot.
Yeah, there were a lot of memes circulating on Twitter and social media yesterday.
But funny and timely, because I don't think that Bubba Wallace as a person had any fake outrage. I think people got outraged on behalf of Bubba Wallace. And Bubba, didn't say, hey man, that noose is not really a noose, it's a pull cord. It's been there since 2019. But if you want to make it a racial thing and stir up some interest, go ahead. I mean, he's got to feel a little bit silly. It's not his fault. He was kind of pawned out there. Probably. Good morning, Jim Hartman. Hope you're doing well, sir.
Well, then I read yesterday that might have been there even longer than that.
Yeah, well, I had heard as early as 2017, but the Wood brothers said, well, it was for sure there in 2019 because we had that stall. And really, didn't you picture
Well, and
that somebody had a big old thick rope and made a noose, about that, and threw it like I thought it would be like laying on a toolbox or on the hood of his car.
I thought somebody maybe hung it from a girder in
I-
there,
that's what I
or a
pictured.
lift, but
Like an
no.
obvious slight. In reality, the garage door was up. It's probably a 10-foot door. There's a string hanging down, a cord, so you can pull the door back down.
Stick your hand in it.
And
pull
then
it,
somebody
don't get
tied a
rope
loop
burn.
in it so you could just grab it and pull it down. All of a sudden, that became a noose
Yeah.
simply because a black man happened to be occupying that stall. I mean, how did Jimi Hendrix become a rich white guy of privilege
In Seattle, I
to wear
don't
one of
know.
his statues? If you're going to deface a statue of Jimi Hendrix and you're a black person, you're clearly not thinking about the cause. I mean, you're just trying to cause destruction. What is that? Jimi Hendrix is about as black as it gets. Served in the military, might have done a little heroin.
Yeah.
Like
That's it. Played a heck of a guitar,
upside down and left-handed.
left-handed.
The
Yeah,
bass strings were on the bottom.
because there were
upside down.
there were no lefty guitars back
Yeah,
then.
that's discrimination
That
against the
was-
lefty.
So, yeah, going to be a debate tonight for sheriff. It will be live streamed on Meet Victoria, and we will link it on Wade and
What are you
Carter
gonna
as
wear?
well.
What are you going to wear? They're
Oh,
going to
yeah.
they're going to be at your back. They're going to see you in all your disheveled glory. Are you going to wear a suit?
Probably sport coat and shirt for sure.
Are you going to coordinate with the candidates so your outfits don't clash? There'll obviously be photo ops afterwards.
No, because we're social distancing.
Okay. All right.
But 6 o'clock it'll start, and Bobby Leister asked where can we watch it. It'll be online. Working with Caleb Shaw on this, he was nice enough to ask me to moderate, and I feel honored and privileged to be able to do so. First time I've ever moderated a debate, so bear with me a little bit. But
You're just jumping right in there. Never done one before.
well,
Let me just get this.
there's
out
no
there.
minor leagues for that. You can't come up
No,
through
no.
the ranks. I mean, there's
me
only one
finish.
way to find out whether you're ever going to be asked to do it again.
I know
It's to do it the
both.
first
I
time.
know both parties at your house. Let's not even get into Ashton. I know Tyler
Yeah.
and Cheryl. And you don't think you've ever moderated a debate? You never had to say, well, yes, she can go, and you be home by 11. You never feel like you moderated a debate raising a teenager.
No, Cheryl probably moderated those more than I did.
You were the one that was hard on Tyler.
Probably so.
Nothing good happens after 8:30, young lady. But Dad, the movie doesn't start till 7. You be home by 8:30.
You can see the ending when it comes out in
Right.
DVD in a
We'll
month.
we'll go to Redbox, whatever that is, and get you one.
Didn't exist then. We'll
Right.
go to Hollywood Video.
So, yeah. Don't forget to rewind. If you don't rewind, there's a penalty.
Charge you for it.
What about this debate tonight?
And then you found out that the rewind in your VCR wore the tape out faster.
Yeah.
So,
I haven't kept up
well, Justin Marr and Dale Fowler, Justin Marr. I don't want to give either one top billing.
whichever
So
one,
yeah.
either alphabetically, Fowler and Marr, or by votes, Marr and Fowler.
So they will be debating in the runoff.
Now, are they
The
going to
election
be
is
debating,
July
or are you
14th.
going to say, how do you feel about global warming? And now, Dale, you have 3 minutes. How do you feel about global warming? Or is Mr. Fowler going to say, is Mr. Fowler going to have the opportunity to say, hey, Justin, you've been a patrol deputy, but you don't have any experience as an executive. And then is Mr. Marr going to be able to say, well, you've been a reserve deputy, and I've been on the streets making it happen. Are they going to be able to do that? Is that what moderators do? You limit that? Gentlemen, check your weapons at the desk.
The format will be presented before, as we get going. But I've already presented the format to the candidates. It won't be any surprise. They're going to be asked the same questions, have an opportunity to respond. And then if there's any direct answers towards one of the opponents, they'll be given the opportunity to rebut.
So if one opponent were to say something about I'm better suited because of this, then the other one could say, well, au contraire.
No, it would have to be more like, I'm better suited because you suck. Then they would get the opportunity.
And then that's when you go, now, gentlemen, let's
Yeah.
be civil. But I mean,
Yeah.
you get an old hockey guy to moderate a debate. I mean, they could drop gloves. It could go down. And it could be that, I mean, Caleb Shaw is putting this event on. I'm not going to be surprised if it doesn't occur in a cage and that there's an opportunity for like a cage match type atmosphere.
with a ladder
And I don't
and a
know.
bag of money hanging from the roof.
I don't know if SWAT team Fowler maybe has more reach, but then Marr is a little more compact. He may get him on the. If Marr gets him down, I think it's over. I think Fowler's got to use his reach advantage and keep him back. Use the jab, work the jab, right? Keep him back. And I don't know if Fowler's a southpaw and what that does to Marr. Could throw him off his game.
Could.
Boy, has anybody seen the footage of Mike Tyson working out? It gives me anxiety. He is an angry, angry man again. Not in a bad way. It's like, it seems like, honestly, Mike Tyson seems at peace. Mike Tyson, folks.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson. You wait
You
till you see
almost-
this guy fight.
Until you see the tattoos, you would think this was video from back in the 80s and 90s when he was just crushing opponents.
But his thighs look like Earl Campbell. Like the skin is taut.
That's where the power comes.
He's shiny. I'm telling you, man, he is a scary human being. He'll be like a little kid.
Yeah.
Scary.
Gonna fight this summer.
So he's fighting. They said Mike's going to kill that old man. Who's he fighting?
Oh, holy
Larry Holmes? Oh, he'll kill Holyfield.
Tyson Holyfield, isn't it?
Holyfield was smart with his money. You know, he's just been sitting around kicking it. I mean, he's got Holyfield doesn't need the money. He just wants to get a piece of Tyson's ear.
He wants it
He
back.
wants to even it up. It would be great if Tyson walked out there when they touch gloves, he would spit out like a little piece of rubber ear. That'd be awesome. I'm back.
Or Bingham checking in, Philip Barone, Melanie
Philip Barone,
Lott,
great umpire.
Adam
Patient with the
Daughtry,
kids.
Jimbo Slice. Who else is in this morning?
What I see when I watch Tyson, the guy's got the gloves and Tyson's doing his thing, and it's just organized mayhem. He's just so quick and just, if any one of those gloves, the guy that he's working with is wearing like a flak jacket, and like Tyson's doing this, and while he's doing it, the guy's moving the gloves, right, and going over, you know, the deal when they go over your head. It's all, some of it's an orchestrated dance. It's a certain amount of moves, but every now and then Tyson just boom, came down and hit that rib deal. And this guy, the guy moves across the ring when he hits him. I mean, the guy weighs 250 pounds, and Tyson hits him, and it moves the guy physically. I can't wait to watch it. I think it'll be a huge pay-per-view event. And,
I don't know that it's enough to save boxing, but it might get boxing relevant for a split second again.
but Mike has become likable. I mean, you may remember that at one point, folks, I mean, he was just, you know, accused of rape, just crazy, bad, just a man with bad intentions.
Custom auto guy and just threw him off the rails. I mean, he was the one guy that pulled him off the streets and got to him and kept him on the straight and narrow and said, your only path to salvation is God and boxing.
Right.
And then he died, and then that was
That
the
was
end
it. He
of,
was
of
off the
Mike
rails.
Tyson that we knew.
If you're off the rails, today's a great day to go to Veracruz. They'll get you back on track. I defy you to order some of that creamy guacamole, wonderful queso. Now, if you want to do something unique, you just get a flour tortilla, put some guac on the inside, roll that rig up, and dip it in the queso. And you will be on a whole different plateau with one bite. I guarantee it. Pick up an enchilada casserole to go on the way out. You can call them and pick it up, 576-6015. You can dine in. The food is exquisite. The service is better.
It's awesome.
And they're great, great family friends and friends of ours. We highly recommend Veracruz Restaurant. Razor IT Solutions, not quite as big a recommendation, but we like them. We like them a lot.
We do.
JP Hull is as good as it gets too, by the way, folks. We're very lucky to have a guy and a team with those capabilities here in town. He works with international companies. He just happens to live in Victoria. Still has a team in Houston, has a team up east. They work all over the country.
West
all over
Coast,
the world.
North Coast, South Coast.
They're
It's
everywhere.
got all the
They're
coasts
not in
covered.
Seattle. They're not in the chop zone. They stayed out of that. But Razor IT Solutions will help you with your internet presence, with collecting money over the internet, with your interface between the internet and Facebook, the way that your website and your Facebook correspond, all of that, study your analytics and keep people out of your data. That's what he does. Reach out to Razor IT Solutions. Do it in a new Chevrolet from Atzenhofer dealership.
Or a new Cadillac, or a new
Mazda.
Mitsubishi.
Get by. They got, by the way, right now, if you need an SUV, on their pre-owned lot, they had a beautiful black Tahoe. It was gorgeous, with beautiful wheels, really sharp looking, and it was like the price was down. They also have a little bit older, but for like right around 30, a good looking kind of diamond white Escalade.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean,
Nice.
summertime, you're going to take a trip. You need a vehicle that'll hold you and
We're
all
not
your
going to New
stuff.
York, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah. Get to Atzenhofer. Since 1926, folks, quite simply Victoria's dealership, there is no comparison, no rival to the Atzenhofer dealerships. Just like White Trash Services,
550-1826.
locally dominates what they do. 550-1826. Reach out to BJ Nelson. Reach out to Scott Nelson. Call the roll-off queen. If you need something for a big project you're doing, or you need something weekly, monthly, quarterly, trash service out in the, maybe not quarterly, might get a little funky.
Mike.
But reach out, 550-1826, and let White Trash Services become your trash-tastic provider. There you have it. That's a break. You know, I would tell you something that I honestly feel like there are times that we come in, we have nothing really to talk about, and we literally do a mad scramble, and we get very fortunate that there's always something to talk about. It's unbelievable how much stuff happens every day. But I listen to radio programs, folks, it is unbelievable how they'll go 5-8 minutes straight with commercials. You ever notice? I mean, I'm being serious. You're just like, man, he probably, you know, back in a minute, we'll talk about the guy that does it. Glenn Beck says, we'll be back in 2 minutes. We'll be back in 30 seconds. And they are. He's warning the local guy that you can run your commercial, but I'm coming back in 30 seconds. When we try to keep our breaks to about 2 minutes, and that's about what they are. And it's what pays the rent. It's what allows us to be here. Sorry, Mom. It's really not you. It's these sponsors that pay the bills. I remember when that really confused somebody. They pay to be on the radio. Yeah, and you're stupid. Anyway.
Miranda Tunches checking in, first-time listener.
Well, hello.
Welcome to the show.
Miranda, take a seat. We'll get to you. You can call us, by the way. If you'd like to be a first-time caller, you could call
First-time listener, first-time caller. I
Yeah,
don't think we've ever had one of those. You could be the very first.
575-9509.
Give us a call. Tell us what's on your mind.
Tell us what's up, Miranda. I like it.
Joel Gomez, good morning to you.
So some of these just go on and on with ads. Like I'm going on and on without a point.
Yeah,
That
so, was your point.
Tell me what else is going on.
Well, we're jumping off into New York City and New York State and them claiming victory against the COVID and reopening and banning people from Texas and other states.
You think you're going to
from
see a
going
spike
there?
next week after having 2 days of wide open testing at the community center? I mean, if 1,000 people go get tested, aren't you going to find maybe 100 cases or 50 cases? And then, oh, it's a second wave. No, it's not. It's the people that finally got tested.
Stephen Kidder says hi to Miranda. Every time Brent says unbelievable, you have to take a shot.
That's unbelievable.
But I found it interesting that Governor Cuomo was almost giddy in celebrating the fact that New York got to this point. Let's not forget, this is the guy that told old people to go shutter into old folks' homes with the COVID and don't quarantine. And that's a large percentage of the deaths that happen in New York State and New York City.
And he had to know that that wasn't solid advice.
He had a naval ship
And to
show up and never used it.
Yeah. Well, the truth was there wasn't the demand. The hospitals really weren't full. Did you like that naval ship, 2 nipple rings? Come on. I'm working hard here. Give me like a little golf clap or something.
It kind of just went.
I did. I mean, if it went over your head, there's no chance they got it.
Well, actually, it wasn't over the head. It was more in one ear, out the other.
Okay, Dawn. Keep treating me that way.
But
you better kiss me. You're going to miss me when I'm gone.
We'll see tomorrow.
I ain't leaving Dawn. I'm taking Dawn with me. You got Caleb coming in
She can
tomorrow?
have you. Yeah, I think Caleb's going to come.
So what's
tomorrow.
going to happen is you're going to go do that debate tonight. Caleb, a big MMA full contact guy, is going to be in the background heckling, hit him. And then they're going to have like a brawl. The puncher versus the classic brawler. We're going to see what happens there. Then you and Caleb are going to debrief for an hour about it and talk about how great y'all were. Oh, you did a great job last night. Well, thanks, Caleb. Thanks so much for having me. It was great to be on your
There
program.
won't be a lot of that. You can't really do that with a debate because you can't really get into, I mean, it's hard to start paraphrasing the answers to the questions.
Right.
But the nice thing about it being on
It can't
social
be about
media,
you.
it'll be there.
More like the best umpires, the best referees are the ones you never notice, right?
That's what I'm hoping. Answer the questions and get out of the way, or ask the questions and get out of the way so they
Right.
can answer them is what I'm trying to say.
I like it. Just tell them, hey, we're going to move kind of quick tonight. We're going to move quick. We're going to get as many questions as we can. You have quite a few questions.
Yeah, and we've asked people on various social media. I did it on our Wade and Carter Facebook page. I did it on my personal Facebook page. I know Caleb had asked for questions. We did. We got a lot of questions. I guess that's kind of going into this. I'm sort of proud of that because most of the questions have come from people that have legitimate questions. And there's been a lot of the same questions, a lot of similar questions. So I may not ask your question as it was worded because it may combine two elements of a very similar question.
Right.
But that's what I like about this is these are the questions that those who've responded in the community want
They wanna
answered.
know.
So that we're going to ask them. That was sort of the design from the get-go.
You know you're going to have that breaking the ice, 2 minutes on the way in of take a minute, give you a minute and a half, tell us why you want to be sheriff.
Yep.
But can you give us, since it's fair, they're both listening. Good morning, Dale. Good morning, Justin. Or good morning, Justin. Good morning, Dale, depending on how you want to see it worded. Can you give me like one question you're looking forward to answering?
Nope.
I mean, they both know.
They don't know the questions.
But they
Nobody's
would
seen the
both know
questions.
if you told them, they'd both be ready for it. It's not like you're giving anybody an advantage.
I'm not
You see,
giving any
folks?
questions.
Yeah, see, folks, ask the question, get out of the way. But I ain't telling you, neither.
Tune in if you want to know the
I
questions.
like it. I like it a lot. Now, what did Miranda's already contributing?
Yeah, she says she's known as medical staff who tested positive and came back to work once they tested negative. As they should.
Yeah, good. And I'm glad they stayed home until, folks, still in general, I joke about it. I don't wear a mask. I mean, if Ash has got something, chances are, except maybe chlamydia, if Ash has it, I'm probably going to have it. But the reality is, I'm not doing anything stupid. We don't go out like we normally would. I'm not sure when normal is going to happen again. We don't go out like we used to. We cook at home a lot. I went over yesterday. I live next door to a physician who's a great guy and has become a great friend. And we just naturally stayed about 8 feet apart. I mean, we were visiting. Normally, I would have been over leaning against the wall where he was leaning against the wall. But nobody said anything. It was just kind of the new normal. And, if you're smart about it, those that are going to get it are going to get it. Don't feel dirty if you test positive. Just do what you have to do to take care of yourself. The doctor pointed out, on one extreme, you've got asymptomatic positives. On the other extreme, you've got death. In the middle, there's a lot of gray area.
Yeah.
People that could have recurring lung problems, people that could have, if you've got an underlying heart condition, this virus could really tax your heart. So you've got to take care of yourself. So what do? We wash our hands, we keep our distance, we drink lots of water. And Dawn and I take that emergency. We take a vitamin. I take a vitamin every day. It's kind of a Centrum.
That's the interesting part in this is where have the calls been? We've been asked to social distance. We've been asked to stay home. We've been limited to risk. The one piece of this that's been missing and is absent from all this discussion is get healthy.
Right.
Fauci has never told people to get off their asses and start becoming healthier, eating right, living better.
Exercise, walk. One thing you
And I'm guilty. I need to do it.
Are you kidding me? You're the epitome of health.
No, I eat better, but I need to be more active.
When was the last time you had a cheese curd?
Oh, that's been a long time.
When was the last time you had a piece of like fried click treat? When did you fry up that and put it on a sandwich?
Maybe this weekend, now that you
Did you
mentioned it.
really?
No, I
Oh
might
my
this coming
gosh.
weekend. I might have to buy a can of Spam and fry it.
Don't you
Throw it in the
feel-
frying pan now.
Don't you feel like you're kind of cheated? Like if you go to a restaurant and they're here, we've got them here in town, where you can have like
Spam
eggs
tacos.
and spam. I'm just like, come on, man, give me a meat byproduct.
Eggs and weenies.
Find a piece of pig eye in your food. What did Jimbo Slice say? By the way, I think Jimbo Slice has lost his mind.
I have no idea what he's
Watch
talking
my
about.
friend coach.
Marvin
Payne
Mickus
Wayne.
says they all want you to take meds so they get rich. Yeah, you might be onto something there,
That's
Marvin.
true. That's there's no doubt there's a profit motive involved. I believe with the cure. I did see a deal the other day where some Israeli biologists had developed basically an antidote that was they've been doing tests on people and showing immense promise in just neutralizing the virus in active virus cases. Now, I don't know why this hasn't been widely reported, but it hasn't. It doesn't seem to have been. We got it on the double download.
Johnny Houghton says 15 minutes. He's got Dallas Stars draft pick showing up for his offseason training. I'm more than welcome to join in virtually.
Now, what is that? What is he telling me? Is the draft coming up for real?
No, he's got a kid that's been drafted by the Stars, and he's working
that's-
out Johnny Houghton's training him.
Okay, I forgot that Johnny was a big-time hockey trainer. Now, where does he live?
He's in Western Manitoba.
Western Manitoba.
Oh, for sure.
I'm Olga. I'm Steven. This is my friend Olga.
There's my mom checking in. Good morning, Tinka.
Hi, Aunt Tina. I hope you're doing well, sweetheart.
Adam Daughtry says I need a haircut starting the auction at $20. That's up $10 from yesterday, so we'll keep that going.
I'm just seeing.
Bob Cosby says 30.
How about it would just, instead of locks of love, it'd be locks of shame. You know?
It's not going to get long enough. If the NHL returns August 1, it won't be long enough to actually give to anything.
It's just kind of on the back here. It's
Yeah.
kind of getting that lower fringe where it is a little bit gray. The only problem I have with gray hair, different coarseness. It has a different texture, and it's unruly. Like you'll comb your brown hair, and then that gray one goes sticks out. And you can't do anything. You can't get it to stay.
Travis Gundelak says he heard listening to Wade and Carter provides a certain level of immunity from BS, maybe.
Yeah, it's just, folks, we're just a hot mess over here, but we have such a blast doing this. I mean, I think we'd do it even if y'all didn't listen.
We would.
We probably wouldn't have any spot. Yeah, Ralph and Gary do it every day.
CW Bean says he peed on a test stick yesterday. It showed negative. Yeah, I think you took the wrong test, CW.
You let that one get by. I said, we do this even if nobody was listening. Ralph and Gary do that every day. They come in after us. Ain't nobody listening.
Ralph's just shaking his head. He says he ain't listening to us.
You walk outside and you can hear the channels changing. Just the people are pushing the button in their car. Like, I got to get back over to some country music. Love it, man. So we'll have Brother Gary in here in a minute. We have to really shorten the window.
There's Reno Conchola
You
checking
may
in.
not have anything.
How about the craziness in Oregon? Since we're talking COVID, Lincoln County put out a mask ordinance,
Right.
that basically exempted anybody who and I think they worded it, person of color is exempt from the mask ordinance.
So white people have to wear masks.
White people have to wear a mask, and it tells me that whoever drafted that ordinance is the ultimate racist because they obviously want people of color to die
Right. If
by
the
becoming
mask
exposed.
helps.
If the mask helps, why would you exempt people of color unless you want them to die from COVID?
I don't understand what would make anybody say that. What would make anybody even? What possible logic would you have in this day and age? In any day and age, what logic would you have to say?
Glad you asked that.
Please, thank you.
Because they stated that it would keep them from being ridiculed or shamed.
We have got way too much invested in each other's feelings around here. If it makes sense to wear a mask, and I know that our leaders here, Mayor Raleigh McCoy, and Judge Ben Zeller, they've been going back and forth. They've been talking about, and folks, there are experts, not just casual people. There are experts on both sides of the issue. Some say you should absolutely wear a mask. My doctor friend next door says, yeah, you should wear a mask. It'll save your life. But there's people that say, hey, if you're not going to get it, if you're practicing the social distancing and all that, I mean, nothing looks dumber than you driving in your car by yourself with a mask on. You're breathing your own exhaust. They say you can literally get lightheaded. It's going to happen. Somebody's going to have a car wreck, and they're going to blame the mask. It's going to happen. It wasn't my fault. I got dizzy. I got dizzy from
Hyperventilated.
breathing. Yeah, I was breathing my own exhaust. Yeah, could happen.
Some people, yeah. It's crazy.
Jimbo Slice is unbelievable.
And then protesters in Wisconsin beat the state senator up. Did you see that
How
one?
about that? How about if you're a state senator and you're out there supporting the protesters, but you happen to be a
Well, he was taking
white man?
pictures. I don't even know that he was supporting them, but he was taking pictures
Well,
of them.
they made it sound like
rioting.
his politics. He's a Democrat. They made it sound like his politics supported them, and then they beat him up, left him laying on a flower bed.
Well, he tried to walk away and I guess collapsed, and then somebody finally called the police, or ambulance. But here's the crazy thing on that: they tore down a statue that was titled "Forward," which was all about forward looking and had nothing to do with anything. And then they tore down a statue, I believe, of a Union general who fought back Confederates and chased them all the way back to Tennessee, and then got
Fought
shot
slavery.
and died.
Yeah, he was a hero for taking the battle to the South and shoving them back, and got killed in the process. And they tore his statue down.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of was he was originally from Norway and he was too white.
Well, he did.
Why else he
had
tearing that
working
down?
against him. He did have that working against him. Then AOC yesterday or the day before, I think yesterday, made the comment that Latinos are black, and somebody, of course, took the literal, which sometimes I don't like, but they said, look, folks, black people were, from the African continent, and Latinos are from the South American area, and they're not black. And then she clarified and said basically that anybody that's not white is black, that their lives matter.
She's been emboldened. She got 70% of the vote in her district.
What just shows me there's 70% of those people in New York are just stupid.
26,000 votes, I think, cast in that primary.
I mean, it's like, okay.
And there's still some primaries out there that won't be. We're not going to know who won. They're too close to call, and we're not going to know for weeks because of the COVID and mail-in ballots and other ballot issues that have arisen in election results.
Did you see where I'm making this up? San Antonio, is that where there was a judge that was at like a Home Depot, and somebody had mentioned a mask, that you had to wear a mask or something. And it just was by chance that a judge was there, the judge who drafted the ordinance.
Judge Wolf, Nelson Wolf, wasn't it?
Pulls out a piece of paper, and the guy slapped it out of his hand. Apparently didn't know he was a judge, much less the judge, facing a
felony assault charge, right?
Yeah, which I think is kind of BS.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you punched
Well,
him.
but he's a Democrat, so it'll be okay. He'll be excused for his not wearing a mask, violating his own ordinance.
Yeah. But this guy is in trouble for punching.
I hope a criminal judge says, you know what? This case has no merit. Bye-bye.
HR Mallory says I need to catch up with the convo going on. Can you go up to the comments? And
No,
see if we missed
I have
something?
no idea. I can't even follow it.
Our audience is so fast.
According to the sheriff, this individual used harsh language with the judge.
Oh, the horror.
Harsh language.
It's like our show is harsh language. We have to bring the brother man.
Yeah,
in here
come on, brother.
just to keep us on an even keel.
I got a couple of good things here.
He comes
Look
in
at that.
talking.
He's
You see
talking.
that?
Yeah, I know the mic's not even on.
His
He's
mic's
already.
not even on.
He's ready to go. So we go. But he doesn't wait anymore.
1 second.
He doesn't wait anymore. We gotta get.
What happened to it? Hang on.
Hold on.
Hang on, folks.
I
We're
forgot
working on
that because. All right, I gotta do that.
Oh,
Now I can do it.
You're like a duck. You wake
I
up
know.
in a new world every day.
Groundhog Day.
Hang on, brother. We have to take this call if
Go ahead.
it's a real
Go ahead.
call. Could be a real call.
Could be a real call.
Caller, you're on the air.
Will Martin.
We're not helping the public? Okay, so tell us how go ahead. I'm listening to you. Talk to us. What would you do? Tell me. Yeah, that's dumb. Yeah, that's dumb. That is stupid, right? Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
that's what we said.
Yes, sir. I agree 100%. That's what we said. We're trying to help the public. But for real, clarify for us. What would you do? I agree, especially if he's the guy that said you've got to wear a mask. I mean, he ought to be wearing a mask, don't you think? It's kind of like the government. The government tells us what to do, but then they don't do it.
Except for the judge. He wrote the darn ordinance
And then he
and
ignored
then he
it.
ignored it.
See, I agree with you, sir.
Yeah. No, we agree with you 100%, sir. Appreciate
Hey,
the
and
call.
by the way, I don't know you, I don't think, but thank you so much for the call, and we appreciate that. You call us anytime, okay? Hey,
Thank
have
you,
a
sir.
great one. That's
All right.
awesome. I love
Bye-bye.
it when somebody calls in and shares their thoughts. That's just fantastic.
He called me out in the car before I got in here. He wanted to say something.
That's awesome.
No,
Good.
I know you.
Appreciate it.
That's all. I'm glad he did. That's good
Kirsten
stuff.
Snell checking in. Things good in the YYC, I hope.
Yes, sir. Things are good.
How's things, brother?
Well, things are good, sir. Good to be with you guys. Good luck tonight. I know
Thank you.
it'll be good, very informative, and we look forward to that.
That's our goal. We want to inform. It's not to entertain.
That's what it is. It's what we're going to try to do here. I got one for you.
I bet
And
it's
you're going to
entertaining.
be going tomorrow, sir?
Yes, sir. I think Ash is going to be here.
Okay. Well,
The ratings will probably soar. You've already been here. I'm out. It'll be Ash and Caleb, and it'll be the biggest show. It'll be a really big show. Really big.
well, good luck tonight, sir.
Thank you.
And whatever you do tomorrow, you just enjoy.
Yes, sir. I'll be floating on the river in New Braunfels.
Good for you.
Yes, sir.
Go when you
Yes,
get a
sir.
chance. And we'll follow those.
I'll enjoy
rules like
tomorrow,
David-
too.
Like David said right there. We'll follow those rules.
You hear him? I'll enjoy tomorrow too. Well, I'll enjoy not seeing you too.
Yeah. All right.
Go ahead, brother man.
I got to separate, the school teaching got to separate y'all, man.
You're mediating.
I got it right here. NHL, you know how many days you've been, it's been out that he hasn't had to cut his hair
Yes, sir.
since they've been down? Today is day number 105.
105 days without a hockey. They only play 80 games. I mean,
This is day number one, because I saw this on there and I said, he'll need to know that, man. June 25th, 105 days they've been down now.
HR Mallory says Judge Wolf was wearing a mask. The cashier told the shopper he needed to wear a mask. The shopper got into a tirade, and Judge Wolf tried to explain it. I must have had it confused. I thought I saw a video of a gentleman that I thought was Judge Wolf trying to walk into Home Depot without a mask.
fake news.
And the
Wait,
guy,
Carter.
so
Fake
there we go.
news. Fake
It was
news.
fake. I got fake news.
But, yeah, sometimes it comes off that way.
That's right.
6 cities left to host the NHL. They got down to 6. Actually.
Las Vegas,
Is the one
Is one.
that's been in America and the United States.
according to Vegas odds makers.
And I'm hearing Vancouver is going to be the other one, and the Western teams will be in Vancouver, Eastern teams will
Gotta
be in Vegas.
include the
is what I'm
Canadians.
hearing.
That's it. Vegas for United States to host it, and maybe it could be 2 in Canada. They said.
Yeah, 1 2-1
Two
Kennedy.
only 2 are going to get picked. All right.
Well, they're saying because Canada's done a better job of shutting down the virus that maybe both
Yeah.
teams will end up in Canada, or both cities will be in Canada.
Canada's better. Sure.
I love it. All right.
Good morning, Canada.
Let me give you this one.
Morning, you two.
Why don't you put that out there? Those 2 dogs came across yesterday and want to put it out this morning. They need some help at North Carolina Pet Adoption Center. They're taking appointments only. They're asking for some help donations to get rid of the cartwheels for both of them.
Are they going to give any portion of this donation to the Victoria Advocate? That's my question. Is will they?
I'm going to hold this here because
That's
it
There's
could
always creative ways to save the local newspaper. I thought maybe giving it to the Advocate would be
Well,
part
if they
of it.
could send it straight to Dorothy O'Connor.
Then we can bypass the Advocate. Okay.
Let's go right there.
Yes, sir. Adam and Jack.
Adam and Jack.
Adam looks like Ash is thinking about Adam right now.
Adam looks a little bit like
He
Stanley.
does look like Stanley.
That's what I said. It hit home base for everybody.
Adam's
We need
heartworm
something
treatment
like that.
sponsorships $175. Jack also heartworm positive. His treatment's $200.
You
They'll
can't
take
let
any
the little guy
donations.
suffer.
Any donation will do,
Look at-
ladies and gentlemen.
Jack's a young dog. I love that brindle coat. And
Yeah.
you see how white his teeth are? That's a young dog.
He's smiling
That's
for
what I
you.
Think about something else right there.
Yes, sir.
And
That's very
needs-
positive.
That needs to be shown. And people-
I don't need another Stanley, but everybody needs a Stanley in
Brother
their life,
man.
and Adam looks like a Stanley.
When you come in,
And Jack looks like my trip.
it always makes us and our listeners smile. We love having you come on the show. People love to have you. That people will say, what people come up to me. You know, people come up to you all the time and ask you stuff.
I've been blessed.
People come up to me all the time and they're like, "What's it like hanging out with the brother man?" I go, "I've been doing it all my life, man. All my life I've been
And I
with the brother
love
man."
it.
So
And
he's
your parents-
fantastic.
Your parents' name came up when I was over at Fred's yesterday. Charlie.
Yeah,
Charles was bringing up when we talked about your parents.
him and my mom are tight.
Oh, he loves her.
He marvels at the fact that her hair is still red
Yes,
at the age of 82.
what a lovely lady.
He just marvels at
You
that.
both are very fortunate to have
Yes,
good
sir.
parents. I wish I had mine. All right, I'm gonna give you something about Dak Prescott. Here, you know the first two parts of it. I don't think you know the
That he
third part.
signed for 31 and change.
31-4, and if they franchise him again next year, you know it's 37-7.
It ain't a bad deal.
Franchise him one more year down the road. Guess what he gets? I want you to hear this. He gets 144% of his salary for that second franchise year. 37.7, 144% of that, over $50 million if they go a third franchise.
And if you run your numbers that way, so does that mean? Well,
Look at
so
over
they
$50
can do
million.
that, and that restricts his free agent status. I mean, they have. So, like, let's just say at the end of this year, he can't just leave if he wants to.
No, he's,
They
he's
could
there for the year.
franchise him, but
But my goodness, he'd make $112 million over 3 years. That's the money he's been wanting
That's the
anyway.
one if he goes the third year, he gets over 50. Well, you figure out 44% of 37.7. He's over
It's another
50 million.
14 million. Yeah, it's over $50 million.
That's over 50 million.
That's
He gets that.
crazy.
Unbelievable. And then they said, I'm gonna give you one more. Major League Baseball, the true, I guess, 60-game schedule. The true worth of that would be the right two teams to get in the World Series. And you know who those two teams are? National League would be
Houston. I mean,
Dodgers.
The Dodgers and Houston.
and Houston or the Yankees.
Right.
Houston or the Yankees. Then they said that would be a legitimate World Series for a 60-game season, right there.
That's
I like it.
That's
I think
good.
that's about right. Mhm.
you don't have the. Here's the interesting thing about this 60-game season. A team that starts hot, as we always see, there's always one that gets off to a good April, May.
like Toronto last year, where they were 13
You know,
and 1.
that can happen,
That could happen.
right?
Chicago White Sox could
Or-
get it or
or-
something like that.
But you don't have the ability here to be a slow starter and try to be a strong finisher. It's not going to happen.
Somebody like that, they're saying that would not legitimize the baseball
You-
season.
We'll see
if
what
one of those
happens.
teams got it.
What you do is you just pitch JV and Greinke on 2 days rest. It's like tonight starter, Zach Greinke, tomorrow Verlander, then Greinke again on
We're
Thursday.
playing 6-7 games a week.
Yeah,
You know,
load them up.
load 'em up, man. So I just want to hit that out there. We got some more next week, but that's just a few things. I love
Any
you
big
all.
events this weekend you're going to be at?
There's a chili cook-off, Massapan out there at Coletto Resort. We're going to do that. They're coming in 40, 50 teams, no social distance. We're going to be doing some chili this weekend.
That'll be great.
Got that. That's good stuff right there. And of course, we're going to be all around. Oh, Monty Riccatelli. I forgot. I was going to say it. Happy birthday to Monty Riccatelli today.
Yeah, see, we never ever do birthdays on the show. We're totally against it, but we hope Mr. Riccatelli has a great
I
birthday.
thought you'd like
Never,
to hear that.
ever
I'm gonna
do
a little
birthday.
something
Do we ever?
on Tyler tonight.
Very rarely.
We never mention birthday. Yeah,
But
it's
let's
that.
do that because I had it. and I
It's that
wanted-
once a year he's got to do something with his son Tyler. You
Well,
know,
yeah, I'll see Tyler tonight. What do you want me to do with it?
you've got to give him a little backhand because you know he's got it coming.
I love that kid. There's another one of you
Unbelievable.
boys like that right there.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
All
By the
right,
way,
folks.
we do have a solution to the Confederate statue downtown. We're going to put a tie on it and call it a young brother. Gary.
There we go.
Just
Put a tie.
slip a white button down on it
And a
and
tie.
a tie, and let the tie
It's
just
done.
blow in the wind, and it's a young brother Gary back when he was
God
fighting the
bless
revolution.
everybody out there, man. Just have a good
Fighting to
week.
make Victoria a better place.
We love you, sir.
That's what we do.
Thanks
Love you
for
all.
being you,
And thank you
You're
for
awesome.
everybody tuning in. We'll see y'all.
folks.
I'll see y'all manana.
Just for today, folks. Stay tuned and listen to